So what's your name?
Steve Spangler.
Where are you from?
So I'm originally from Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Did you go to college?
I did. I went to Oregon State University.
Okay. What did you major in?
Communications and psychology.
Okay.
So nothing pertaining to business whatsoever. Yeah.
What's your business/company?
So I own Simple Science Juices,
Okay.
which is the juice bar upstairs.
Okay. Where is your company located?
So we have 4 locations, or we have 6 locations, sorry, 4 of which are in Kansas City and 2 are in Omaha.
Okay, cool. When was your company founded and where and when did it originate?
2014 is when I started it, and that was, I think that's when I got my first dollar. So it didn't have, I don't think it was even called Simple Science Juices. I don't think I even had a name or a logo or a label or anything like that. I just started making juice in my apartment and was talking to some people about it, and they said they wanted some, and then I just made a couple juices for them and sent them over. There was no recipe or anything like that. And then I just realized that there could be a business there.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Who would benefit from using your product or service?
Everybody. So the main reason I got into it was in 2011. I was on 9 different medications and just a bunch of different things. I was playing with Sporting Kansas City at the time. And just feeling like death all the time and sleeping for 14 hours a day every day. And I was on a pretty steady fast food diet at the time. And then through juicing, dietary changes, I was able to get off all medication. And then through chatting to other individuals about it, not even trying to sell anything, they're just that's awesome, where can I get that? And at that point there was no place in Kansas City that provided something like that, so it just made sense to kind of create it. And so what was the original question? Who could benefit from it? So that kind of got started as in when I first had the product, I really wanted to target people who have health ailments or health conditions or had some of the similar ailments that I was going through that I was taking medication for. And then through the evolution of Simple Science, we eventually got to the point where it's just anyone and everyone, either you're an ultra marathon runner and you're at your elite physical level. We have players on Sporting and the Chiefs and the Royals that use us quite consistently. And then we also have your average Joe who is just tired of eating pizzas every day and wants to try something new. So literally a range of everyone. No one can, I don't think anyone can have adverse reactions to fruits and vegetables. They might think they do mentally. Spinach tastes awful or something like that. But everyone can benefit just from ground up fruits and vegetables. Yeah,
that's really cool. Why did you start your company?
So kind of dove into that, and if I might just go on tangents every now and again, so tell me to stop if I'm leading into another question. But that was the main reason, was just I felt there was, I feel everyone will say there's a need within the market, but for me personally, I saw how much it affected my own life and how much I was able to grow from being able to get off all the medication and actually able to sleep, because I was on insomnia medication, but I was also on anything and everything that would combat that as well. So it actually allowed me to sleep. It allowed me to be more recovered throughout the day, and allowed me to think clearer, so I can actually start up a business and do things with my life that previously I wouldn't have been able to. So everyone can benefit from that.
Okay, cool. How did you get your company to be where it is right now?
Just hard work. So there was $0 went into Simple Science to start it up. In the beginning I was working, I had 5 jobs at one point, and aside from Simple Science, so I was working at a health at a cafe. Actually, my first job outside of professional sports was a minimum wage job at a cafe, because I just had no idea what I was doing, and I needed to have some experience. And so after a couple months working there, I asked them if I could come in early and make juices for their shelves. They said yes. So I would start work at 5 o'clock in the morning, make some juices, put them on their shelves, start the 9 to 5, go coach high school club soccer,
Okay.
privates, come back, take inventory,
Mm-hmm.
rinse and repeat
Okay,
for
cool.
a number of months and years.
Yeah, okay. How big was your team when you first started, and how big is it now?
So it was myself in the beginning, and then quickly, like a buddy of mine started helping out, and that was awesome. There was two of us for a while. I want to say for almost a full year, less than
Okay.
that. So it was two of us for probably 8 months or 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
I had two other buddies join on for a little bit, and then like roughly in 2015, in June of 2015, we had I think 3 employees or 4 employees with Simple Science Juices.
Okay.
In January of 2016, so roughly 6 months after that, we had like 35 employees, and I think
Wow.
now we have like 48 or so.
Oh, well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a ton.
Yeah, yeah. How do you market your company?
Marketing is something that I love to do, so there's tons of different ways, as I'm sure you're well aware. We do a lot on social media, and we let like a lot of word of mouth, so a lot of our customers market for us, just giving them avenues to market, so shareable content that they can give to their friends, or like a lot of campaigns on Instagram or Facebook that allows them to bring in some of their friends or take pictures and tag their friends, that kind of stuff. But I really like the concept of like content marketing, which is basically like anything and everything, just like throw it up there. There's certain people who love like analytical marketing, with like everything needs to be tracked and calculated. That's definitely a solid way to do it, but that's just never worked for me.
Yeah.
So like we come up with blog content, we come up with vlogs, we come up with like daily social media posts, we go to events all around the city. We basically say yes to anything and everything that we can to like get our name out there.
Yeah.
We partner with a lot of other companies, so like anything where our like logo, the Simple Science logo is somewhere, or we're bringing in a person that wouldn't typically be in the store just because they wanted a bottle of juice, is like considered marketing for us. So like really anything and everything, we just go to try to get our name out there.
Yeah. Okay, cool. What were some of the struggles you went through with your company at the beginning, and what are some things you and your company still struggle with?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things.
Yeah.
In the beginning, the biggest thing was just like experience. Like I didn't know what I was doing. My buddies didn't know what we were doing. So a lot of it was just like constant mistakes that we were making that cost money at the time.
Yeah.
And then now it's just we probably grew a little too fast. So we went from 0 to 6 stores within like 2.5 years, which is a decent growth strategy.
Yeah.
And when we didn't have systems in place and none of us were experienced. So experience is like the name of the game. If you can start off in an industry where you actually have like, I had never worked a retail store. I had never worked in the food industry. Like the only thing I knew leading into Simple Science was like how to make juice. I didn't take any business courses. So like literally I had zero information in my head when I first started.
Yeah.
It's good to have somebody on your team that like knows what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which sounds normal.
Yeah.
But I have had a lot of entrepreneurial friends who have started up a business just because of passion, which is great because that fuels like a lot of that hard work, because you're like in the beginning and maybe in the end as well, you're working like anywhere from like 60 to 100 hours a week every single week, and taking no days off or anything like that. So it's good to have like that passion to kind of drive you through those moments, because you're also not making money during that time as well. So a lot of people aren't working 60 to 80 hours a week and not making money for very long. But you kind of have to do that if you're going to kind of drive a business.
Yeah. How did you find people who saw your vision and were willing to help you build your company?
That was just, so like when it was just a buddy and I, and the same thing about like selling it. It was just talking about the product, talking about the lifestyle, and how it affected like me personally. I wasn't trying to sell it to anyone, but it was like inadvertently selling it to a lot of people. And not only did that end up in like monetary incentives with like people wanting to buy a product, but it also ended up in like working incentives of people saying like, Hell yeah, I like that. I like what you're saying. I think that all lines up. Like, I have gone through those similar things as well. Like, I would love to learn more about this process or this lifestyle and teach other people. Mm-hmm. So kind of like, luckily for my industry, I don't know if this is right with every industry, but in my particular business, we were just able to, like, we're almost like a magnet for people who want to like love and inspire health and wellness and like inspire others. And that's just like the nature of the business, really, for us, it seems like.
Yeah. Okay. Did you have trouble financing your company? If so, how did you overcome it?
So financing was like, again, it was like a zero funded startup. So a lot of it was like profit in, everything went back into the business. Working those 5 jobs, I was able to amass some money to where I could live off savings for a little bit, which was nice. But it allowed me to put everything back into the business, which is like something you kind of have to expect in the beginning. And so when we opened up our first location, we opened with a refurbished cooler and a card table and then 2 chairs, and that was it. Like, people would walk into our 1,400 square foot location, and there would only be a card table, 2 chairs, and a refurbished cooler, and like that was it. So like we started with like as cheap as humanly possible, and then when we were in a farmer's market as well. When we got profits from this farmer's market, we'd go to IKEA, purchase furniture, bring it back, assemble it, put it together, and just start up that way. Okay. So finances weren't the biggest issue at the time. When we went to scale and grow, we got an SBA loan, which is like a loan from the bank for small businesses, and that was helpful. And then we eventually found an investor.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
How many hours do you put into your company a week?
It's died down a little bit, and so like I think the average week is right now around like, I want to say 70, and then like typically 60 to 70 in the beginning. Probably the first 3 years was more of like 80 to 100 a week.
Okay. Whoa.
Consistently. It was it was not as much fun. Or any fun at all. So just basically slept at the shop the entire time.
Okay. How can people get more involved with entrepreneurs in their community and outside their community?
That's a good question. Like, I don't know. There's like entrepreneurial meetup groups and stuff like that, but like really any small business, people can walk in and look and find the owner somewhere. So, I mean, typically if you're a small business in Kansas City, like you're still working unless you have many locations. Like the only reason why I ever leave our flagship location is to visit another location, to have a meeting, or to check in on managers and all that kind of stuff. But typically, like the owner will be around that location. So if you want to support them personally, maybe find their flagship location and just chat with them. Always supporting local is good. I'm about to start up a couple other entrepreneurs of how to like kickstart like a KC local, healthy local company, and really promote that. So, I mean, and how to like actually support you as an entrepreneur, like yourself watching this, really just doing it. Like it seems so like trivial, but it's like the truth of like people will analyze themselves to death of like, I need X number of dollars to start, I need this market, I need this, like we had nothing. Like we didn't have recipes, we didn't have experience, we didn't have really anything in the beginning, but just because we started, we eventually got to the point where I would assume like now we're industry experts in Kansas City, and it's just because we've been doing it the longest and we've made all the mistakes that people are making right now.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. What is the first step in starting your own company?
Last part again is just like doing it. There's so many books out there, especially like you don't need to go to college, and me looking back on college, I would say it's like not a thing I would go back and do given the opportunity. Just because it didn't allow me to do this any better than what I would have if I didn't go to college. And a lot of that just comes down to like Udemy is UDEMMY, I believe .com is like a good resource for people just post courses on Udemy all the time, and you can watch them.
Okay.
YouTube, even if you want like free content. Audible is a great way to learn. Like, there's so many ways to learn and like understand business now that like the biggest thing that's going to get in the way is just yourself. And so if you just anyone with an iPhone has a business, anyone with a computer has a business. There's most of the time I was just using the internet at like at a cafe to start like write the business plan for a simple science anyway. So the biggest thing is just getting out of your way and like starting.
Yeah. Okay. What is good advice for aspiring entrepreneurs?
Find the right people. I think you could ask like 100 entrepreneurs and they're gonna say maybe 100 different things, but it all relates to like what they're going through in that particular time. Me personally right now is just finding the right individuals and like finding the right people who want to join your team, treating them with respect, and like being transparent about what the position holds and like where they could go in the company and all that kind of stuff. I mean, like a good person will either make your life a dream or just make it very difficult. And so taking more time to vet some of those people and to see what people's intentions are, see if they're just trying to find a job and collect a paycheck, or if they're really trying to change a life and do something that's going to be impactful in the world. And finding like the people with the right intentions plus the right work ethic will help you scale your business like tremendously.
Okay. Is there anything specific that aspiring entrepreneurs should do to brainstorm ideas of a company they might want to start, or how to start building their company?
That's a good question. I don't know. Kind of understanding who you are. So what I found to be very real is a book called The E-Myth Revisited, where they go over every entrepreneur is basically three people. They're a technician, which is like the worker. They're a manager, which is obviously the manager or the operator. And they're like basically, I forget what the last one was, but it was basically like the visionary. So it's the person who kind of always has their head in the clouds and is constantly trying to like come up with new ideas and like push forward. But you need all three components in your business, and each person, like myself, I'm more of the visionary and a technician. I can put in the hours, and I'm in the clouds most of the time of like trying to think of like what new products to have, and like we would have a new product every single day if it were up to me. But that would drive everyone insane because there's no way to like put systems in place for a new product every single day. And so like the manager in me is like way low. And so understanding that is just finding your counterpart early, which is good. So like if I'm a visionary and I know that I'm really good at creating ideas and I have a really good sense and I can I'm very personal, so I can like chat with people, but also like identify with a lot of people and maybe bring a lot of business in. And finding someone who will see that business, and they might not be able to go out and create that business, but they're very good at making sure that business comes back consistently and that you have a consistent product offering, which is not like my strong suit. So like finding your counterpart is so pivotal in this whole process. You might be able to scrape by and like be all three people for a little bit into your business, but you'll eventually need to find that person. And then being honest with yourself of like people are going to say like, screw it, I'm those three people, or I'm like pretty good at all of them, so I'm just going to do it myself. No, like if you really break yourself down, you're typically only like really good at one of those things, and then you can probably like make do with another, but there's another part that you're just not good at that you should hire out for.
Okay. Are there any open positions at your company? If so, what are they?
There's always like open positions. Like we're always constantly hiring. A lot of the things that we're hiring for are just like most of the time it's storefront employees. So like our just consultants, which are just basically like spreading the mission and spreading the lifestyle, chatting with people, relating with people, being personable. And then people just move up in the company from there. So if people have aspirations to like be a manager or a CEO or something like that, or whatever they would want to be in the company. The cool thing about a small business is it's extremely malleable. Like it doesn't have a specific structure. So like we're always creating new jobs. If someone comes in and they're just like awesome, they're just a great human and they're a really hard worker, like we're going to find we're gonna find a way for that, and they're contributing and they're like bringing value into the business.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna find a position. We're gonna make up a title and like give it to them.
Yeah.
Because like that's what you want. You just want good people.
Yeah. Is your company on social media? If so, what social medias and what are the apps?
Yeah. So Facebook and Instagram mainly is just at Simple Science Juices.
Okay.
We've looked into like Pinterest or Snapchat or some of the other like YouTube channel and stuff like that.
Yeah, YouTube, Snapchat would be really good.
Yeah. And we might kind of break into that in 2018, but we do so much in marketing that we haven't like quite narrowed it down, and I think that would be. We tried it out in the beginning and it like wasn't the greatest, but we'll probably bring it back in 2018.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me interview you.
Yeah,